Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well. I'm back to my Christmas camping spot, which if anyone saw my 2016 Christmas camping video, this is where I came. I've actually been here since 2017. The last time I came here was when I brought the hammock out. So it's kind of nice coming back here. It's a really beautiful spot. There's a lot of fir trees around, so it just always feels like a Christmassy area to me. Now a couple of nights ago we did have some snow, a couple of mornings ago, but most of it's melted now, but there are a few spots still about in shaded areas which I'll go to later and do a bit of filming just to get a bit of snow in, give it a bit more of a Christmassy feel. But it's nice to get out here again. I was tempted to do this New Year's Eve, seeing as most of us aren't going to be able to go out New Year's Eve anyway. I thought it might be nice to do a New Year's Eve video, but I wouldn't be able to do it live, so it wouldn't go out New Year's Eve anyway. So I thought I might as well just do one now and put out, and then people can watch it over Christmas hopefully and enjoy it. I swear I can come out without my camera and I'll barely ever hear a plane, but as soon as I bring my camera with me, without fail, there'll be a dozen planes fly over. I think I'm being gang stalked by the military. It's the only explanation I can come up with. If you don't know what gang stalking is, go and look it up. Man, what a crazy year it's been. Who would have thought this time last year how much things would change in the space of a few months? My year hasn't been too bad really. I've been kind of using the time to marathon movies and TV shows that I either haven't watched before or haven't watched for a long time. I rewatched the Lord of the Rings trilogy, forgot how much I love those films. I rewatched Jericho, which a show that I saw about 10 years ago, and I enjoyed it at the time, but then I just kind of forgot about it and moved on. But after rewatching that, it's a really good show, quite an underrated show. If you're into prepping in that, it's probably a show you'd enjoy as well. Also watched The American Office, which I'd never watched before. I'm a fan of the UK Office, but I'd always kind of dismissed the American one as being a cheap knockoff like the American In-Betweeners was. If anyone saw that, it was terrible. But the American Office is actually pretty good. From season 2 to season 7, it has really got its own identity. It's quite a different show, kind of a different type of comedy from the UK one, but it's really good actually. So what have all you guys been up to fill the time in this year where we haven't been able to go out quite so much? If you want to leave some comments and tell me, it'd be interesting to hear or read. And hopefully if any of you are alone over Christmas, you can still enjoy yourself watching YouTube videos, watching other people that are interested in the things you are, so you don't feel quite so lonely. You know, still put your Christmas decorations up, still make a nice meal for yourself and get all the colourful lights and decorations up. I think little things like that help, even if you might not feel like it. If you're on your own, you think, what's the point? I think stuff like that, just like lots of little things, can end up making you depressed. It doesn't have to be one big thing that's happened. It's the same with things that make you feel good. You know, lots of little things can all add up to cheer you up. And I find just doing things like making a little celebration, even if it is you on your own, like get the decorations up, get everything like nice and colourful and all the lights and everything. And just little things like that can help to cheer you up and make it feel a bit special, even if you're on your own. So, you know, try and stay positive. I know it's easier said than done sometimes, but you know, just do those little things that can all add up to kind of putting a smile on your face. And hopefully the new year will start getting a bit better. I used to hate New Year's. I used to hate like that period from January to March. There's like 3 months of nothing. You know, everything's dull and cold and wet and dead looking outside and there isn't so much to do. But now I actually always really look forward to January, because that period of nothing is actually quite handy to kind of do things in. Things I can just focus on, usually me, you know, I usually focus on getting fit and healthy and making more money in those 3 months. So I sort of, you know, think of new ways to make money, get back on the fitness and exercise. Because the last few months of this year, September and October especially, I just completely gave up on exercise and diet. I couldn't be bothered, you know, just after months and months doing it at home and not going out so much, I just lost interest. But I quite quickly put on a stone in weight and my stomach really ballooned. I've never sort of had a belly like that before. And just putting on like 1 stone in weight apparently doubled my chances of getting diabetes in the next 10 years. So in November I then dieted and exercised a bit again and kind of worked that stone off almost. But then in December, like with the decorations up at home, I haven't got the room to exercise, and I just, with the equipment that I had, that I showed in my lockdown video, I showed some of my exercise equipment at home, but it just wasn't enough. That was one area where I did under-prepare. I did not have enough exercise equipment at home to kind of sustain me, but I'm getting some more for Christmas, which has been a nightmare because everywhere's sold out of weights. It's like gold dust in the UK now. It's one of the few things actually that seems to be in a shortage now, more than food and toilet rolls or anything like that. Trying to buy weights and gym equipment, everywhere's either out of stock or ridiculously overpriced now. Everyone, all the scalpers, basically went and bought all the cheap weights from like Argos and stores like that, and now putting them on eBay for 3 or 4 times the price. And I ended up having to order some from Germany, which then didn't turn up because DHL somehow destroyed the weights in their warehouse. Solid steel weights somehow managed to get destroyed in the warehouse, so didn't turn up, which I translated as someone in the warehouse stole them, because like they're nigh indestructible, they're solid steel weights, and how on earth they managed to destroy them and then just toss them out. And I only found out this because I chased them up on it. They didn't let me know, they didn't contact me and say, oh sorry, your weights have been destroyed. I had to chase them up about it, and it was a nightmare, and then try and get my money back and that, but I did finally, and I managed to get some more weights that were actually 20 quid cheaper in the end, so it worked out for the best. But man, getting gym equipment for home now is expensive and difficult. But it's not just vanity that fuels me wanting to get in shape and stay in shape. It is a very practical thing. Back when I had pneumonia, one of the nurses said to me, because I had it for like 2 weeks before I was admitted to hospital, and one of the nurses said to me, it's kind of amazing that you're even still alive after 2 weeks and able to walk around, and it's, you know, must be because you're just very fit and healthy, which I was at the time. I'm not now. I'm not trying to sort of boast about how fit and healthy I am, because I'm not at the minute. But it, you know, it shows like any illness is obviously a big thing this year, but it's not just corona. I mean, cancer, for Christ's sake, is a bigger problem. Cancer's everywhere now, and the stronger you are, the better you're going to be to fight anything like that. So it is a big part of, you know, if you're into prepping and survival, and that is getting your body fit before worrying about anything else. The stronger you are, the better you're going to be equipped to fight off cancer or, you know, viruses and things, and survive a bit longer, hopefully. There's another show I watched this year, actually, Chernobyl. That was a really good show. But after watching that and kind of really understanding how much radiation was just spewed out into the world, I think that's probably a big reason why there are so high cancer rates now, because there's all this radiation floating around that shouldn't be there, that our bodies haven't evolved to deal with and to be kind of immune to. So maybe in a few hundred years, cancer rates will start to go down because our body, you know, people will have evolved to be able to be tolerant of that extra radiation that's floating around. But I mean, it was just spewing it out, and that radiation doesn't just disappear, you know, it's still swirling around the earth now, just as it was 20-30 years ago. Crazy. Seeing as it's Christmas, I thought I'd be a bit nostalgic with the equipment I brought out with me. So this is a load of scouting gear from the 1960s. No, it's not originally mine, I'm not that old. It's actually my father's that he handed down to me. There he is with his glasses on, desperate for a wee, bless him. And here's my dad's old scout knife. See, got the Sandringham Jamboree 1964 stamped on there, as well as a windmill at the top. I'm not sure what that was for. It's got a nice leather sheath, really, and then a kind of antler handle there, some bone handle. I assume that's antler. If we take it out, it's quite a nice knife. It was pretty blunt when he gave it to me, but I've sharpened it up. I'll test it in a minute, but it is pretty sharp, so I don't think I'll have any problems slicing through wood with that. Now, I don't know if anyone out there knows, but do scouts in the UK still have knives like this? Because it's hard to imagine, with the way people in the UK are a bit hysterical about knives and that kids would be let loose with a fixed blade sheath knife like this. But I don't know, I don't really know much about the scouts, to be honest. I was never a scout when I was a kid, surprisingly. But if you know, then let me know in the comments if scouts have anything like this at all now. Here I've got the Pathfinder compass. It's quite a decent enough, I mean, it's a simple compass, but it does the job, it still works, considering it's, what, 50, 60 years old now. And then here I've got the Acme whistle, which sounds like something Wile E. Coyote would use. The Scoutmaster. Good whistle, that. Once again, 60 years old, in a really good condition. Though I don't know how much my dad actually used this stuff. I haven't really used it that much, to be honest, because I've got my own. But these are still handy things to have as backups in my survival closet at home. Then lastly, I've got this knife. Now, this wasn't my father's, this was my next door neighbour's son's. My next door neighbour, she was like my best friend basically when I was a teenager, even though she was in her 60s and I was a teenager. We used to walk our dogs together, go to car boot sales and shopping and that together, watch like Emmerdale and Murder, She Wrote, some guilty pleasures of mine, play darts together, you know. Had a lot of fun with her, but she died back in 2013, sadly. But she knew I was into kind of survival and outdoors and all that, even back then. So she gave me this, and this is the first knife I ever had, actually. Now, I don't think this is an official Scout knife. I think this is just kind of a cheaper knockoff type version that people could buy. But it's still a pretty good knife. Once again, I've sharpened it up nicely. You've got a knife blade, a fish descaler, which I sharpened up so I could use it as a saw. And then we've got a bottle opener and a tin opener. I've never actually used the tin opener on it, so I'm not sure how well that works because it's not very sharp, but I think it would probably do the job well enough. And then the bottle opener with a little flathead screwdriver as well. So I don't know if any of my older viewers ever used to have any of this stuff when they were younger. It's a decent quality kit. So there's my dad's Scout knife first. And now for the smaller little pocket knife. Now this blade is a lot flimsier, but that still cuts through there quite well. I'm having to support it a bit more with my thumb than the larger knife. But yeah, considering this is a 45-year-old knife, I'd imagine. Yeah, that's cutting through there nicely. For just a small blade. Having a bit more difficulty than with the larger knife, that's to be expected really, but it does the job. It's getting a bit dark now. It's still reasonably mild though, but I've got the fire going, which is warming me up nicely. Actually recently got to 10,000 subscribers, which is a nice little milestone. I know it's not much compared to most YouTubers really, but it's still nice for me. I took 10 years. I miss the days when I used to do more uploads back in like 2015, 16 and 17. Those 3 years I was making a lot of videos and it was fun, but I just don't have the time over the last 2 or 3 years to do that. But it has been nice getting back to it a bit this year. And I haven't done that many videos, but I think in 2019 I only did one, and that was the somewhat bittersweet urban exploration video with my friend who committed suicide a few months later. That's one of the reasons why it's important to try and enjoy every bit of life you can. As I said earlier, even if you're alone and all that, you've got to try and enjoy yourself because you never know when it's going to come to an end. You've just got to grab any bit of happiness you can, even with just simple little things like a TV show you enjoy or putting a movie on that you love. It doesn't matter how insignificant it might seem. You don't have to be, you know, globe-trotting and doing all these things that might look cool on Instagram to be happy. Just any little thing, you know, train spotting, plane spotting, whatever. It's only a little contained fire in my wood stove, my little wood stove that I've been using for years, which is starting to show some signs of wear. The metal's starting to warp a bit and there's a little bit of rust has got on it, so I may have to replace it in a year or two. But it's, I mean, I think I got it in 2016. It's held out pretty well, considering it was only a cheap one. So Merry Christmas everyone, and hope you all have a good new year, and thanks for subscribing and carrying on watching.
Everybody, my friend Rod asked me to come and wish you all a Merry Christmas. And if you've been good little boys and girls this year, I'll come and empty my sack all over your living room floor. And my sack's very full this year because I only come once a year. My friend Rudolph's very sad this year. He recently found out that every time he comes out working for me, his wife sneaks into town to blow a few bucks. Now I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a happy and safe New Year.